If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Coming up, here comes Willis, and the crowd is going wild. On it to read on the forecourt, right side from 20, jumps, yes.
Harper's on Miller. McKee gets it in the middle for the win.
All right, welcome to another edition of the One in a Million. I am your host, Len Bias. Today we have a very special guest, and I'm very excited to have him here. We are joined by the 2009 Kurt Gowdy winner for writing, Peter Vecsey. I'm not going to go through all his accolades, but if you claim to be an NBA fan and you don't know Peter, you probably don't know what a Walkman is. You never heard of the Temptations, and you live under a rock. So, Mr. Vecsey, thank you for joining us.
I liked your first two. I don't know about Under the Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are we doing?
You don't know what an 8-track is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a plethora of things I want to ask you that I feel the audience would want to know, and I could think of no other person to ask. And don't worry, I won't do the hypotheticals because I know you don't do hypotheticals. So I think you and John Thompson are probably the toughest interviewers because you're straight to the point. You're not going to sugarcoat anything. So what were some of your hardest interviews that you had to do when you were doing journalism?
Yeah, there were a number of them. Red Holtzman was very tough all the time.
Yeah.
Until he retired for good. And then I would go out to eat with him and his wife, me and my now ex-wife, and then Danny Whalen, the trainer, and his wife, and we would go out, and those were some great memories. Not that he would really tell, his wife would.
Yeah.
So Selma Holtzman, she was a beautiful lady.
Yeah.
She would say stuff like, she had a great sense of humor. She would say, "Yeah, Red and I stayed together all these years because neither one of us wanted to take the kids." She was hilarious. Then I found out they had one kid.
Oh wow.
But anyway, so Red and I had a not a great relationship when he coached.
Yeah.
I was tough on everybody. I didn't really want to hang out with him and the rest of the writers because then it'd be off the record.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would show up at the bus early. So wherever we were going, to the arena or to a practice, whatever, I would be hanging. I was just switched from the ABA. So he'd want to know everything I knew about the ABA. I know about this player, that player.
Okay.
And then what do I hear on trades and the NBA? This was 1974.
Okay.
73, 74. And so I would tell him everything I knew because I was going to read anyway.
Yeah.
I was going to keep it. It wasn't going to be soon.
Yeah.
And would ask him a question. Red, I want to know, what do you know about this? And he goes, "Peter, I don't talk about that stuff."
Oh wow.
And I would have to laugh. Hey, I'm going to give you everything I know, but you're going to give me nothing you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I know the Rangers, but I didn't take it personally.
Yeah.
Another guy that was very difficult was John Stockton.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what's with these white guys.
Yeah.
But he was impossible. He was impossible. I was around Utah a lot. Obviously, they had great teams. And NBC sent me out to Salt Lake City to do an extensive interview with him.
Yeah.
We sit down. I ask him about 3 or 4 questions. He gives me nothing.
Really?
And I told my producer, turn off the camera.
Yeah.
I said, John, my boss sent me out here from New York to Salt Lake City to do an NBC interview on you for halftime of the next, and you're giving me nothing.
Yeah.
I said, you got to give me something.
Yeah.
You got to give me something. And, he proceeded to give me good stuff. He proceeded to give me enough for a good 4-minute interview on TV.
Yeah.
But then, he's the kind of guy, I don't know if he's introverted or he just didn't like the media.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I would pass him in the hallway. He would just walk right by me, never say hello.
Wow.
Unlike Karl Malone and almost everybody.
Yeah.
Almost anybody that I was around, they passed him in the hallway. But, those are two guys that stand out in my mind that were difficult.
Yeah. So I know that you were born in 1943. So around the same time, you were around to see the Kentucky-Texas Western game. Bobby Joe Hill, do you remember him at all?
Of course. Yeah, of course. I knew everybody on both teams.
Oh, okay.
I was in the Army. I was in the Army in '66. I was stationed in Fayetteville, North Carolina at Fort Bragg.
The Green Berets?
I was on. Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was on guard duty that night.
Okay.
All nights on guard duty. But I would sneak into the little house that they had set up for us, and I watched the whole game basically.
Oh, wow.
I was absolutely rooting for Texas Western.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody personally.
Yeah.
But I knew a lot of the guys were from New York.
Mm-hmm.
In Kentucky, they were very famous.
Yep.
Pat Riley and Louis Dampier and the coach Adolph Rupp.
Yep.
But I thought that I thought Riley handled it fabulously then when they lost.
Yeah.
He's handled it even better since then.
Yeah.
He accepted like a real man, like a real pro.
Yep.
And so I absolutely remember that game.
Yeah. He was a phenomenal player, wasn't he?
Yes, he was in college.
Yeah.
He was. He had trouble in the pros because he was a bastard height. So was he an off guard? Did he really shoot that well off guard? Was he a small forward? They used him a lot at small forward.
Really?
And he backed up Jim McMillan and Elgin Baylor.
Yeah.
And Elgin retired, but he backed up Jim McMillan on that team that won 33 straight.
Oh yeah.
When McMillan replaced Elgin, who retired, I don't know, 8 games into the season, something like that, they proceeded to win 33 in a row.
Wow.
With Jimmy as the starter. And then they won the championship that year. But Riley told a story at Jim McMillan's funeral, which I attended in North Carolina.
Okay.
And Riley showed up, and so did McAdoo. And those were the only pro teammates that showed up.
Mm-hmm.
McAdoo from Buffalo and Riley from the Lakers.
Yeah.
And he told a story at the memorial, the trip for him, in which he said that Jim McMillan, he said he averaged maybe, 38 minutes a game on a team that was winning every night.
Yeah.
And then we would practice. Bill Sharman would have practice, and you would think that Jim would take it easy.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
Practice.
Yep.
No.
Really?
He said Jim McMillan beat the shit out of me every day. It was a great speech. He did it off the top of his head. He didn't even know he was going to speak that day. Yeah. And I felt privileged to be there for that. I was pretty tight with Jim McMillan. I spoke to, and so that was a big day for me. And one of the some things you just never ever forget.
Yeah.
Some things I can't remember, like games and stuff, years. But that day, Riley paid me the ultimate compliment. Yeah. He said, "I knew you would be here." Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Whoa. Mm-hmm. And then we had lunch afterwards, sitting next to each other. So, those things are lasting
Yeah.
Everlasting, actually.
Yeah. Like when you talk about things that are lasting and things that you don't forget, you talk about Jim McMillan's passing. And when I was 7 years old, the one player who, like, people wanted to be like Mike, but I was from Boston. So I loved Reggie Lewis. And when he passed, I remember going up to my room and crying like for days because I didn't understand it. I didn't know. I was like, well, is he going to come back? Like, I just didn't understand it at the time. And the question that I had is, like, during that time, did you know about why the board of commissioners decided to keep Reggie Lewis's contract on the books?
No, I don't. That's something that not at all.
Yeah.
But I was pretty good with him.
Yeah.
And his wife, and I'd have to look up the things I wrote at the time. But I just remember that phone call. I remember reaching out. And she and I spoke afterward and stuff. I mean, things were pretty shitty.
Yeah.
At that time. And whatever. So I liked Reggie a lot. I spent a lot of time in Boston in my life because of how good the Celtics were.
Yeah.
He and the two of them.
Yeah.
Give me his name. I can't even
Len Bias.
Draft pick who died.
Len Bias.
Len Bias. So two guys on that team that died that would have prolonged career because he wouldn't have had to do so much.
Yeah.
Those two guys continued on. But very, very, very sad. People want to talk about, what's recently happened with Udoka and, the suspension. And, I read today that Boston Globe, some guy wrote that this is like the worst thing that's ever happened to the Celtic organization.
Are we kidding? Are we kidding?
No, that's what he wrote.
That's
he wrote. I said, man, oh man. See, that's not knowing history. You can't just because of guys. I think Jay, Brown said, hey, nobody died.
Yeah.
So, okay, and that was the way to look at it. Nobody has died. I mean, it's terrible what happened. He got caught doing what
he was doing.
Probably, I don't know. I want to give a number.
Yeah.
But probably 25 to 50 head coaches have done throughout the year.
Yeah.
He got caught, and now he's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
But not the work. The team is in turmoil.
Yeah.
No question.
Mm-hmm.
But Bias died.
I think Len Bias and Reggie Lewis are way more impactful than Udoka. Like, you still have the same team. You still have everybody on the team. They're fine. You're just gonna have a new coach.
Right. Well, you're missing a couple of guys who are injured.
Yep.
Gallinari's out for the year.
Yeah.
Who has a
Robert Williams
problem, had surgery.
Williams.
Robert Williams. So, again, I'm following peripherally, but I do subscribe to the Boston Globe.
Oh, okay.
And I really like writers. I've always loved their writers.
Yeah.
That was a little. I forget who did it. And that person got carried away.
Yeah, he did. Now, when you talk about like what happened and coaching and just the Boston culture in general, Casey Jones is still not in the Hall of Fame for coaching. I did a podcast with his son maybe a month ago, and we talked about it, and he said his father probably wouldn't have cared because his father was more focused on winning. He didn't care about the accolades, but at the same time, I care about the accolades because he deserves to be in there. What do you think is taking so long for Casey to get in there coaching?
Well, first of all, it's an absurdity.
Yeah.
When he died, I wrote a whole piece on, being out is not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, how many times did he get teams to the finals?
Yeah.
Won 2 championships for Boston, got there with the Bullets as well as the final. And I disagree with Casey Jones' son.
Yeah.
Because I know, I used to double date with Casey.
Oh, yeah.
The second one.
Yeah.
So I heard stuff from him. He was not happy when he was not a head coach. He didn't like the fact that, they were overlooking him.
Yeah.
I heard a story recently with Jerry Colangelo told me that he interviewed him for the Suns job when he hired Cotton. So, I mean, he wasn't totally forgotten for sure.
Yeah.
And then, the Celtics hired him, really didn't like him around, blah, blah, blah. Became I love Casey Jones.
Yeah.
What's so crazy, and I've spoken to Colangelo about this as previously as at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We had a whole conversation about this topic.
Yeah.
And I just it's just so stupid.
Yeah,
How
it
did
is.
this happen? When they had the voting they had all of, I don't know how many coaches, 35, 50 coaches, 30, how many, do you know how many coaches voted for the all coaching team?
No, I don't.
But the list, I can't remember either. Whatever it was active coaches and old retired coaches.
Yeah.
They voted Casey Jones to the list.
Wow.
So hold on a second.
Yeah.
What does it take for the Hall of Fame to wake up and smell the river?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's sad. I'm in touch with his daughter.
Yeah.
And we moan about it.
Yeah.
I've been so outspoken about it, but I almost am willing to guarantee, after speaking to Jerry, that Casey will be in next year.
Good. That's good, because I mean, he didn't have a losing record for not one season that he coached in the NBA. He coached in the ABA for 1 year, right? And then he didn't have not one losing season, at least 500, even when he wasn't coaching Larry. And then I think about the adjustments when I went back and watched those games. The adjustment that he made when he put Dennis Johnson on Magic in Game 4. Everybody talks about the McHale slam, but that adjustment it changed the whole complexion. He went from...
I can play both sides of this.
Yeah.
I can play both sides. What took him so long to put him?
Yeah, you could.
They got him to guard Andrew Toney and Magic.
Yeah.
That's what so he should have been guarding from minute one of the series. So whatever. I don't remember him coaching the Celtics without Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Bird was the whole time.
No.
Hey, did he win? Did he have 500 with the Conquistadors?
Yeah.
He did?
No. The Conquistadors, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
So in the NBA, I mean, he turned around. The Bullets turned around and got to the finals with the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I mean, he was just such a pleasure to be around.
Yep.
It was, Fitch needed to be fired when he was fired.
Yeah.
Because everybody hated him at that point.
Yeah.
I always got along great with Bill. I got to tell you, I could take him to task for things.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I used to get on him in the paper all the time because he didn't play any Ainge enough.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it.
Yep.
And he was fine with me. Now, if a Boston writer had done that, I know he would have been all over him.
Yeah.
But we had a great relationship. But anyway, KC was. They were ready for somebody low key like him, low profile.
Yeah.
No bullshit.
Yep.
You better do it. Bird gave me a couple instances. I'm not going to be able to repeat them, but when I interviewed him for the last time, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, he told me 2 instances where Casey Jones got very angry at the team.
Yeah.
For how they were playing.
Yeah.
The way they were acting, and he called them out.
Yeah.
And he let them. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Casey Jones was a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah, he was.
So you weren't gonna mess with him. I mean, and then he knew how to handle people. He knew how to handle Dennis Johnson. Dennis Johnson had trouble in Seattle with Lenny Wilkins after winning a championship. By the way, Lenny's only championship.
Yeah.
And then the next year, Lenny labeled him a cancer.
Oh,
and
wow.
why? And why? Because he didn't like to practice.
Yeah.
But he was one of those guys. He was before Iverson.
Mm-hmm.
But Bill Russell didn't like to practice and didn't practice either.
Yeah.
So if you can produce and you're playing that amount of minutes, you really, the coach has to be smart about it. So Kate Jones was smart about Dennis Johnson when he was in Phoenix under John McLeod, Jerry Colangelo told me, McLeod, he didn't tell me recently, he told me a long time ago, Jerry, he's the one who demanded Dennis be traded because he wouldn't practice.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Jerry wasn't about to put that on himself.
Yeah.
He put it right on the coach.
Yeah.
And so they were able to get the Celtics were able to get a great player.
Yeah.
For Rick Roby.
Yeah.
Who was doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then again, Casey Jones. Hey, Bird told a story about he didn't want to practice this day.
Yeah.
He knew it. Yeah, he was complaining. He was bitching in the locker room. I'm averaging 30-something minutes a game. Time. And so Bird went to KC. He said, you better do something about it. We're not going to have a good practice unless you do something. And Casey Jones told him, he said, Dennis, why don't you sit on the sidelines for the practice today? We're going to do this without you.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It was like the perfect way out.
Yeah.
And Dennis and Bird said Dennis thought he was getting over.
Yeah.
So we were getting over. We were going to have a good practice.
Wow. Yeah. This is like insight that I love, and I wouldn't get this from watching the media that goes on right now. I heard during your podcast when you talked about the guys like Skip Bayless and like Shannon Sharp, like those guys, all they do is talk trash and they don't bring any context to the table because half of them weren't there. So they just go with what they think happened in conspiracy theories. And I hate that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know even if they were there. I mean, Skip Bayless did cover it. We're the same age, basically.
Yeah.
Skip Bayless he's covered but he's not interested in content.
Yeah.
He's interested in stirring it up.
Yeah.
And that's what they're there for. And that's what Stephen A is for.
Yeah.
That's all they're there for.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any content or substance or it's all nonsense. I don't listen to any.
Yeah, of me neither.
All right, but we know what they do because this you can't miss it.
Yeah.
Because they put it on Twitter and stuff. And stuff is right in front of you. Mm-hmm. But they're making a fortune, and
I guess that's what it's for then, to make a fortune. Now, you've watched probably over 60 years of basketball excellence. Who do you feel is underappreciated? When I think of underappreciated players, I think of Hal Greer, even though he went to the Hall of Fame. I don't think they talk about him enough. I think about Gus Johnson. I think about Ron Boone, Willie Wise. And even though he was not like a big-time all-star, because, a lot of the alcohol and stuff that he was getting into, Gus Gerard, I think of those guys as people who are underappreciated for what they did. Who do you think of?
I don't think of Gus Gerard.
Yeah, okay.
Gus Gerard, little known things about little known people.
Yeah.
We were at the Stokes game in 1978.
Okay.
I believe 78, maybe 77.
Okay.
And I'm with a woman, and my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And she's around the front desk, and Gus Gerard's trying to pick her up.
Oh, really?
And I said, enough of this shit. I said, I proposed to her at the pool.
Oh my God.
We were married 42 years. We're divorced 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, but that really happened. I said, I was pissed. I knew who he was. I'm an ABA guy.
Yeah.
Just messing with my girl.
Yeah.
So the other guys you all mentioned, I agree. A lot of ABA guys you mentioned. You didn't mention Jimmy Jones, who likes to be called James Jones.
Yep.
Those guys, and I've told Jerry Colangelo, he
Yeah.
believes that there are enough ABA guys who are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I said, Jerry, well, the three you mentioned deserve it. Matt Calvin's another guy.
Yeah.
I mentioned, you never talk about executives
Yeah.
who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. There are a lot of NBA executives in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
How about Mike Storin?
Yeah.
Who basically, got the Indiana Pacers championship built from from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went to Kentucky, and he did the same thing there. Then he became the commissioner of the ABA.
Yeah.
He's Hannah Storm's father.
Oh, okay.
And he deserves it.
Yeah.
Another guy's Carl Shear.
Yeah.
He was deputy commissioner of the NBA.
Okay.
And then he ran franchises, in Denver and Charlotte in the ABA.
Mm-hmm.
And then back in the NBA with Denver. So these guys, they don't even think about them.
Yeah.
And I told Jerry, I said, Jerry, you need somebody like me around to tell you these things before the fact.
Yeah. Yep.
Not after.
Yeah.
You got guys on committees who are just guessing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. I said, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see if anything happens along those lines.
Yeah.
But I think you mentioned Hal Greer. Yeah, I mean, but he's a top 50, he's a top 75 player, so he's not underrated completely.
Yep.
But there are an awful lot of guys in those same categories that got to those plateaus that absolutely don't get the publicity or the recognition. LG.
Yeah.
Pettit.
Yep.
Rick Barry.
Yeah.
Many guys like that.
Yeah.
Frazier doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a shame. But again, if you're going to have committees, full of people who never saw it, or you're going to have a vote where you've got 18 women voting for the top 75 NBA players of all time.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
That should never have happened.
Yeah.
I don't remember any man being on the committee that, well, maybe there was, but there certainly weren't a lot, to vote the WNBA all-time players.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just political bullshit.
Yeah. Yep.
And I wrote a column about it. I was pissed off because there were a lot of guys that got left off because all these women did, and a lot of guys, all they did was promote the top 50 to the top 75.
Yeah.
That's not what it should have been. But there was no guidance. And so because the top 50 all got in, you had guys like Luka and Joker and Klay Thompson and many others that should have been on the top 75.
Dwight Howard.
Ginobili. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Ginobili's not top 75.
I really felt bad for Dwight Howard, and I don't know him, but I played up against Dwight Howard in AAU way back in the day, sophomore year. Really? Yeah. So I played up against a lot of the NBA guys in AAU. We competed a lot. I'm 36, so I'm around the same age as Dwight. But I felt bad for Dwight because he was a defensive monster and not really a great offensive player. But, think about all the All-Stars, and it's like they don't focus on defense in the Hall of Fame because...
No. Let me stop you.
Okay.
They absolutely do, because otherwise Ben Wallace would not be.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
And so I think he should not be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
I definitely do. I think he's unworthy.
Yeah.
But... And Dwight is not a guy that I would vote for. But I think not as. I think what hurts him more than anything is he's become a clown.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I think people have a hard time, looking at his statistics and looking at the clown image that he does on the court, all that stuff he pulls, and the way he looks. So I think image hurt him more than anything.
Yep.
Do I think he's going to get in the Hall of Fame eventually? I do.
Yeah.
But I won't vote for him.
Yeah. Oh boy. Do you think was there any series that you covered that stands out in your mind that you think people should watch? Because this is one thing that I want to know, because I go back and watch series all the time.
I've never watched a game after I've gone and covered it.
Oh, really?
I certainly never watched the series.
Okay.
But then, there was some, there was series when I was younger that to me don't get the recognition or applause that they should.
Yeah.
When the Bullets and Knicks went at each other.
Oh, okay.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God, a tremendous rivalry.
Yeah.
You mentioned Johnson, fabulous player.
Yeah.
Very, very tough. Absolutely underrated. But, you had matchups. like Johnson against the Busher and Frazier against Monroe.
Yeah.
And Marin and Bradley.
Yep.
And, who else was that? Lockery and who? Dick Barnett.
Oh, okay.
It was, unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I loved those series.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, the Bullets were able to knock off the Knicks.
Yeah.
Which sticks in my mind to this day.
Yeah.
But then it was so beat up by the time Freddie Carter, who started on that team, told me that we were so beat up after beating the Knicks that we couldn't even compete against Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Milwaukee blitzed them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But those are things that I do think stand out about.
Yeah.
The last shot of the game, I'm not sure if it was to win it or to tie it.
Okay.
Bradley took a jump shot and Unseld, 6'7", whatever he was, came out and got his fingers on it.
Oh, wow.
And Freddie Carter tells the story about before that play, Gene Shue was the coach.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of people say he was a great coach.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say not so much.
Yeah.
Bobby Dandridge says he was the best coach he ever had.
Oh, wow.
But whatever. So Freddie Carter told me that in the huddle before that, Gene didn't tell them anything really. All he did was look up to the sky and said, "God, can I please win once?"
Oh, that's so.
Those are the things that if I had that little nugget when I was writing, I didn't cover that series. I think I was just there as a spectator.
Yeah,
but
yeah. That I have a question for you. Actually, somebody that I know asked me to ask you this. Now, when Dr. J went to, was it Rucker Park? When he went to Rucker Park, were you coaching him that year that he blew up, or did you coach him the year after he blew up?
No, we came together.
Oh, wow.
I had covered him at UMass.
Okay.
Wrote a couple stories about him. They played in the NIT against Marquette, Dean Leminger's team. So when he came out after junior year, I had a good friend, Dave Brownbill, who played at Hofstra. He's from Long Island. I went to Hofstra, so I knew him from there. Mm-hmm. And he called Doc and asked, it wasn't Doc, he called Julius and asked if he wanted to play in the Rucker. And so they came same day I did, the first day. Yeah. And I've told the story, a million times, but there we were sitting on a bench and, we're maybe a half hour from tip off. Yeah. And I had a really good team. Yeah. And, he said, "How much am I going to get paid?" And I said, "Julius, as far as I know, nobody gets paid." And he said, "All right, well, let me think about it." So him and Dave took a walk around the park. They came back, and he said, "Let's go." And he played for me 4 years.
Oh,
wow. We won 2 championships.
Okay.
And, he blew up that summer.
Yeah.
And then he went to rookie camp with the Virginia Squires to the ABF. So, we became very tight off of that. We're still pretty tight. Yeah. Pretty tight to this day. And, those were great. Then I came back to 2 more years in the Rucker in the early 80s. That was 71.
Okay.
And so he played all 4 years. And then they went indoors to CCNY. And I really thought it had lost its flavor. Yeah. I stopped. Came back when it went outdoors again. In the early 80s, I had Louis Orr.
Oh, okay.
And Pat Cummings and Sam Wortham was my star. And I had a couple guys from DePaul. Okay. And had a really good team. Yeah. We won twice. Oh, wow. And I packed it in.
Yeah. That's it. Now, the rumor has it that you could play a little bit.
Yeah, I could play. Yeah, I mean, I didn't put myself in except during garbage time.
Yeah.
Really. Except when guys didn't show up.
Yeah.
We had a game inside. I've told this story many times. Game inside. Yeah. Because it rained and Julius showed up and we had like 4 or 5 pros. I remember Manny Leake showed up, Joe Dupree. Okay. And me and my assistant coach, a guy named Butch Purcell, who passed away a couple of years ago. Okay. God bless Butch. He's the one that got me my team. Actually, he's
Oh,
from
really?
Harlem. He got me in, and so we had to play that game. We had to play like a half a game each,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to guard a romantic goal.
Okay.
And Earl and I had a good relationship, real good.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept talking to him. I said, Earl, whatever you do, don't dunk. don't dunk. And I had a decent game, but what stands out more than anything in that game is the second greatest thing that ever happened to me on the court.
Okay.
I was on the break with Julius, and I looked off somebody, and I gave him a pass, and he dunked it.
Yeah.
As if I dunked it.
Oh, yeah.
And I had no orgasm.
Yeah.
I admit it. I did.
Oh, my goodness.
So he had like 68 in that game,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, and we lost.
Yeah.
We lost by a couple of points. They had Manigault. They had this guy, Cliff Anderson, who played for the Lakers.
Yeah.
They had a few Globetrotters. You know, we it was me and Butch. You know,
Yeah.
we competed as well as we could, but not against guys like that. And
Yeah.
then the best was when I played in a game at Cutcher's, the Stokes game. They let me play. I was the only writer that ever played.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in great shape. I think it was like 85. Whatever year Maravich ended up dying was that summer. This was the last organized game he played in.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And I was on his team.
Okay.
And I was on the team with Oscar.
Oh, wow.
That was the starters.
Yeah.
Oscar and Maravich, and I was pissed off. How come I don't know?
Yeah.
So anyway, during the game, you know, many stories with this. So I think it was Dolph Shays as the coach.
Okay.
Or whatever. And he puts me in for Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
And Oscar refuses to come out of the game. And seriously, he said, there is no fucking way that I'm going to be replaced by a writer. That ain't happening. So Satch Sanders was the assistant coach, and he had to go on the court and put his arm around Oscar's shoulder.
Yeah.
And say, Oscar, come on, it's an exhibition.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So that leads to my best memory ever. It's like I'm on the break with Pistol,
Mm-hmm.
and he gives me an around the back pass,
Mm-hmm.
and I make the lefty layup.
Oh, wow.
And I'm righty. So, and then he said, as we're coming up court, he says, he used to call me Pistol, I swear. He said, "Hey, Pistol, don't ever say I didn't give you anything."
Yeah. Wow. That's
Had I missed that layup, I played really well that game.
Yeah.
Had I missed that layup, I think I never would have played again.
Do you think he would have still passed it to you again?
No.
No.
No. It was great. It was great. Cassie Russell played in that game.
Oh, okay.
Locker. Yeah. There were a couple games I played up there. I played with Cousy.
Yeah.
You know, I played with Bobby Wanzer.
Okay.
Old time guys.
Yeah.
It was so great.
Any times did you play with Super John Williamson?
I never did play with him.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
never did. I covered him from the day he showed up at Nets camp.
Yeah. Was he
from
as
the
eccentric as they say he
Yeah.
was? Yeah.
Yeah, he named himself Super John. But you know what? He did a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great player.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we are at rookie camp,
Yeah.
and Kevin Lockery's first year as coach, he replaced Lou Conaseca.
Okay.
And it came down to the last cut, and the last cut was between John and a guy named George Bruns,
Okay.
who played at Manhattan, and was a terrific player. Played
Yeah.
for me in the Rucker.
Okay.
About 5'10", skinny, run the team, shoot the hell out of the ball.
Yeah.
He had them play one-on-one for the last spot.
Oh, wow.
So unfair.
Yeah.
So unfair. Because John couldn't stop George.
Yeah.
But George couldn't stop John. John
Yeah.
would just take him aside.
Yeah.
And so, I was pissed off about that.
Yeah.
John Williamson.
Yeah.
But about 9 games into that season, maybe long. No, they had a 9-game losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were like 3-13 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Lockery decides to put Williamson in the starting lineup, and he takes out, I think, John Roach or Melchione. So now the backcourt is Brian Taylor and John Williamson. They proceed to win a championship.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I mean, John took no shit.
Yeah.
Again, you remember things forever.
Yeah.
In that first game was against the Spurs.
Oh, okay.
In San Antonio.
All right.
Now Williamson starting. And during the game, early on, a guy named Rich Jones, 6'8", headhunter, tough guy.
Yep.
He hits John in the back of the head with an elbow.
Oh, wow.
And and a little bit later, John retaliates and hits him in the back of the head with an elbow. So you knew he was not. This guy was fearless.
Yeah, not to
and
be
they won
trifled
that
with.
game, and I think they went out and won 9 in a row and stuff. But they won the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in the locker room him telling me, I said, "Man, you just level. You really went after a guy that's tough."
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, man, what goes around comes around."
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I had never heard that expression until that night.
Yeah. Yeah. Melchione, that's Lee's grandfather, right? The one who played at Duke?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Still around.
Yeah.
Still around. Talking to him all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's living in Florida. And, Billy played on the 67 Sixers championship team.
Ah, yes.
He was a rookie on that team, and so was Billy Cunningham.
Oh, okay.
No. I take it back. I think Cunningham was the second year.
Okay.
Matty Gukas was a rookie on that team. I might have it mixed up.
Yeah.
But Billy was a rookie. And because I interviewed him recently for a piece I wrote for the Hall of Fame program on Larry Costello.
Okay.
And Larry started on that team.
Oh, okay.
And then he tore his Achilles, and Wally Jones wound up starting the rest of the year. But Billy had some great stories about Costello, about everybody.
Yeah.
But one of the best things he told me was he said Wilt that year did not show up for camp. He had a contract problem.
Mm-hmm.
But he said it was very, very strategic.
Yeah.
He said he knew how tough Larry Costello was.
Yeah.
And Alex Hannum was the coach.
Mm-hmm.
He knew how tough camp was going to be. And he showed up like for the second exhibition game. And he also said, Wilt was the only guy in the team that had a room by himself.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
But I told him, I said, Billy, not for long.
Yeah.
It might start it out each night.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, everyone else had a room together.
Yeah.
Billy roomed with Larry Costello.
Oh, okay.
And then he switched to Billy Cunningham.
Okay. You
brought
up Matt Gukas, and that's actually a question that I had on here. What was your relationship with guys like Steve Snapper Jones and Matt Gukas?
Well, look, Steve's an ABA guy.
Yeah, yep.
So we were good. We were very good when he played.
Yeah.
Once we were colleagues at NBC, for some reason we weren't that tight.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. He worked with Walton. They were tight.
Yeah.
I worked in the studio. We were friendly, but not tight.
Yeah.
When he was with ABA, we would go out to eat.
Oh, okay.
Who was the other one?
Matt Gukas.
So Matty, we're tight. We're tight now.
Yeah.
We're in touch. He's in Florida.
Yeah.
But not so much. Not so much when he played.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. He played.
Yeah.
When he was an announcer, again, I was looked at sideways by a lot of people because of stuff I was saying on the air.
Yeah.
Matty was a real company guy.
Yeah.
Not only for NBC, but for his team. So when I would say stuff about his people, I just told a story the other day is that, in fact, I told it to Pat Williams, who I interviewed for a podcast, by the way. And his 2-part series starting tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I told Pat that, I'll tell it now, is that I broke the story that Brian Hill was going to get fired.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Team had a meeting the previous night of a game, and I had it cold.
Yeah.
I got it from a good source, and then I got it confirmed.
Yeah.
So I knew I had it, but my boss, Dick Ebersol, didn't want to go with it before the game.
Yeah.
And Gukas and Marv Albert were doing this Orlando. I don't even know who else played.
Yeah.
So they were doing the game, and then he said, "No, let's not disrupt the game. We'll do it as soon as the game is over. We'll come to you. You tell everybody what you got, and then we'll take it from there." And I did, and Matty Gukas was saying, "Not a chance. This is not true.
Yeah.
No way."
Yeah.
He said, I coached this team. Brian's one of my best friends. I know everybody. This could not happen without me knowing it.
Yeah.
I said, "Matty, I'm not going to argue with you on the air.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen."
Yeah.
And Marv is taking his side.
Yeah.
So I was on the spot many times.
Yep.
And stuff like that, and I got killed for about 2 days by every newspaper man in the country because he wasn't fired. They had another game in Philly. He coached that game and went back to Orlando and got fired.
Yeah.
So those 2 or 3 days in between, I was taking a lot of shit.
Yep.
And I only one writer ever apologized to the guy in Philly who had a column there. He sent me a nice note.
Oh, okay.
But everybody else, it's like, but then they forget you even had it.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I don't know who did the documentary on the Orlando Magic. But how can you do a documentary on the Orlando Magic and not interview me?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it's either it's jealousy, stupidity, incompetence, all three. I broke that story.
Yeah.
It's a huge story. And plus, I was around Orlando. Man, I was down there all the time. I had stories. I still have unbelievable stories involving Shaq and Penny.
Yep.
Pat Williams, he gets into that. He's got a lot to say about Penny and Shaq.
Really?
Controversial.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
okay.
say it.
Okay.
Let him say it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh, go Pat.
Yeah.
Go. Because, he was the guy that started Orlando.
Yeah.
He came from Philly and started the franchise. That was him.
Yep.
And then was so involved in everything. What, he went 3 coin flips.
Yeah.
He got Shaq, Penny, and Weber. And then he traded Weber for Penny.
Yeah.
He told that whole story. I'm telling you, his stories are phenomenal.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'll be tuned in.
Wait till you hear his story.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
But again, those documentary people, they're what a bunch of losers.
Yeah.
They're just gonna tell it. They're gonna tell it the way they want to tell it.
Yeah.
Fine.
But I did see in the legacy thing that I didn't even know about the whole James Worthy thing. With I think it was Aguirre and Donaldson.
I don't remember the other player.
I think it was James Donaldson. It wasn't. No.
It was.
Is it Tarpey? Roy Tarpley?
Tarpley.
Okay. When I heard that, I was like, whoa, I had no clue about that. But then as I was reading, because, when I was like, all right, I'm interviewing Peter Vecsey, I better be on my shit. I got to have my P's and Q's. So I was reading something, and David Stern was saying, part of the reason why some people didn't like Peter is because Peter knew information before some of the owners knew information. And I laughed.
Where did he say that?
I think it was like in the vault, this article, The Vault. I'll have to send it to you. But I was reading it and I was like, oh, that sounds about accurate, because when James Worthy came on and he was like, I had no clue about this, and you know what I mean? It's just you're good at your job, so you find out stuff before a lot of people.
That was very controversial.
Yeah.
That whole that day I'd written it in the Post, and then John Andres was doing doing interviews, and he asked me if I would be interviewed, and and I went over the story, but it did not happen. The trade didn't happen, but that to me is it's a demonstration of or an illustration of what I did.
Yeah.
If I said it was going to happen, I said Brian Hill was going to get
fired. Yep.
And I just said about the team meeting. I said that's definite.
Yeah.
I said if I go on there and say, hey, this is a trade being talked about, and I name the players, and I did on the paper and I did on the air.
Yeah.
This is being talked about. Did I say it was definitely going to? No. But just give some insight into, these writers who shit, they didn't know anything.
Yeah.
But they don't know anything, but they're going to come after me for what I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know it.
Yeah.
Okay, wrong. Okay,
yeah.
nice.
Yep. That's usually how it goes. I had a couple. Do you believe in the greatest player of all time? Do you believe in that argument of the greatest player of all time? Do you have someone who you think is the greatest?
Well, I say every program that I do, I'll give you a name, and then the next program I'll give another name.
Yeah.
So I've had Kareem there. I've had Wilt.
Yeah.
I've had Jordan. I've had Ron.
Yeah.
Bird is my favorite player of all time.
Bird was incredible.
Yeah. So it's impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, But Russell did win 9 out of 11.
Yeah.
And Kareem did win, 5 or 6, whatever.
Yep.
5 or 6 MVPs, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And what he did in college, unsurpassed, but greatest player in college history.
Yeah. Yep.
So, take your pick. Who's, you can argue for what reason, What do you prove? Nothing.
Yeah. True. Very true. Now, that 94 season, I wanted to ask you one more thing about that 94 season. The year that the Bulls ended up with going to 7 with the New York Knicks. Now, you don't deal in like hypotheticals or opinions, but the facts of
opinions.
Hypotheticals. That's what I mean. But like the facts of the year, right? Where everybody talks about, the Bulls got screwed because of that call in Game 5 by, I can't remember who it was. Was it Hugh Hollins or one of the officials that made the call? Yeah. So, but no one talks about how Derek Harper was probably the reason why they even went 7, because he got suspended in games 4 and 5 and then ejected in Game 3. When Derek Harper got traded to the New York Knicks, they never lost to the Bulls for that rest of that season. I think 4 or 5 games they played, and they never lost. Then they start the playoffs, and then they don't lose.
Wait a minute, they didn't have Michael.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But like the people were talking about, well, if it wasn't for that call, then they would have won the series, and I don't believe it. Do you think that they would have won the series?
First of all, you're reminding me of stuff that I'd forgotten about Harper. I'm a big fan of Harper as a player.
Yeah.
Kenny Smith was, trembling whenever Harper was starting.
I know. They used to call it the hard hand check. Marv Albert said it. He goes, Kenny Smith would love for the hand checking rule to be out because Harper was a master of the hard hand check.
Yeah, I mean, Harper was tough, man. So I liked him a lot. I'd forgotten he got suspended. I really did. In that series, I tell you, I was rooting for the Bulls to win the championship without Jordan.
Really?
I really was. Yeah, I was. I want to see Pippen do his thing.
Yeah.
He was the guy.
Yeah.
And then I still, to this day, I don't know. I don't understand why Phil Jackson gave that shot to Kukoc.
Yeah.
Kukoc had only played like 18 minutes in that game.
Yeah.
Pippen, they were there because of Pippen, everything he did. the game was tied, I believe. Was it tied?
Yeah, it was tied. It was 100 to 100.
Okay, so you don't think he deserved it?
Yeah.
I mean, I stuck up for him.
Yeah.
And my ex-wife, not my ex-wife, she said at the time, she said, you're the only person in the world would stick up for him. And the reason is that you're just like him.
Yeah. Yep.
You wouldn't have come in either. I said, I don't know about that. But, I understood why he was pissed off to this day.
Yeah.
And I had heard, and I don't know, that something happened before that.
Yeah.
Between him and Phil.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully before, I'm dead, I'll find that.
Yeah.
But I was rooting for them.
Yeah.
I thought what a great story for them to get into the finals.
Yeah.
I think they would have beaten Houston.
Really?
I do. Yeah. They
Wow.
were tough team, man. Tough team.
Yeah. Wow. That's something I don't know. I mean, I remember I put something up years ago in social media where I said, do you think the 94 Bulls would have been able, people think they would have been able to win the championship. And Mario Ellie had commented under and says, no, absolutely not. They wouldn't have beat the Houston Rockets.
Well,
That's
Ellie's got an opinion also.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody.
A good man, Mario. Yeah, so look, the Knicks had Houston down.
Yeah.
3-2 going back to Houston.
Yep.
Game six. I remember I did the halftime. And
Yeah.
I scolded Pat Riley for not using his bench.
Yeah.
And he continued not to use
Yeah.
his bench.
And they got tired.
He didn't use Blackman.
Yeah.
And at Game 7 when Starks is misfiring all over the place.
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons I so respect Riley to
Yeah.
this day.
Mm-hmm.
He admitted he made a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are very few people who admit they made a mistake.
Yeah.
First of all, what does it gain them?
Yeah. Yep.
But he did admit he made a mistake.
Yeah.
And Blackman was pissed off about that for a long time.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
I
believe it. I would be upset too because even just 2 years prior to that, Blackman was still very serviceable. Like I was watching old games and I was like, Blackman was very tough. Like could score. Like I didn't know he had multiple 40-point playoff games until I went back and watched, and I was just in awe. So like when that trade happened, when they got Blackman, I was like, oh, this could be the thing that puts him over the top. And then he didn't really play that much, so it was tough.
He was a pressure player.
Yeah.
Too. He
Mm-hmm.
did not let the situation bother him at all.
Yeah.
Great free throw shooter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last question for you. One last one. MJ as a player. What are your thoughts on MJ as a player?
Unbeatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what could I say that everyone else hasn't said about him? I followed him from the day he showed up in the NBA till the day he left, and enjoyed the hell out of watching him. You know, just never really amazed me because everything he did was amazing.
Yeah.
So I just whether it was passing or defending or obviously making crucial baskets. That's why he's right there as one of the top 3-4 players of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
No question.
Yeah. Well, first
I don't know if I answered your question because again.
No, you pretty much did. You pretty much did. Yeah. You said he was amazing, and that that's all.
He was his era.
Yeah.
His era.
Yeah.
His era.
Yeah. Now I listen to your pod Hoop du Jour all the time because I like I said I want to pick your brain, and as I said, I don't do the things that some of these guys do. Like I was really upset. I kind of bashed JJ Redick on a couple of my pods because I didn't like how he disrespected the history of the game by calling the guys that Bob Cousy played plumbers and stuff like that. And I'm like, you don't understand that in 20 years, people are going to say, oh, the NBA was filled with podcasters. You know, that like that's what they're gonna do. Like that's it. You have to go back and actually respect and watch the game, and that's what I try to do. So I hope I did you a good service by actually giving you a good podcast with content and asking you good things, because I don't like to do all that ridiculous stuff.
No, great interview. I appreciate it. You got a lot out of me.
Thank you. I'm glad I got a lot out of you. This is stuff that I can write home about and talk to my kids about. Like, hey, you don't know who Peter Vecsey is? Look him up. I actually had an interview with Peter Vecsey.
Right. Look up 8 tracks.
Yeah.
Look up 78 records.
Yeah. I am hoping that one day later on that I can possibly get you back on so I can pick your brain some more, if that's okay with you.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
I generally only do one a couple.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
We'll talk about it.
That's fine.
If I'm in Boston at a game and you're there and you see me, please come over.
Okay.
I live near enough to Boston that I probably will go to some games.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So are you in this area?
No, I'm in Saratoga Springs.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Not today.
Yeah.
That's where I live.
Oh, okay. That's perfect. So I will definitely.
I shoot over to Boston and I stop to see Bob Cousy on the way in Worcester.
Oh, wow. Oh, all right. All right.
No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say.
I wish.
Oh, you know, hey, a fun fact for you before we get going. I actually coached Steve Pagliuca's son, Nick, at Milton Academy. So, yeah. So he was.
Are you still coaching?
I do. I coach Hingham girls basketball right now. I coached at Milton Academy for 4 years. I coached. But again,
my friend.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all the insight, and this has been another edition of One in a Million with Roland Millien. I thank you, Peter Vecsey, for joining us. It was great insight, and I don't think I'll ever have a high like this again. You had your moment where you had your orgasm. I think I just had mine.
Oh, my God.
All right. Thank you very much.
Take care. Stay healthy.
All right. You too.